LLM judges can scale evaluation, but only if you calibrate them against humans and constrain what they decide. This AI QualTest episode gives product, engineering, risk, and quality teams a practical, vendor-neutral playbook for LLM As Judge Evals in 2026. Use a simple operating loop, rubric, judge, calibrate, and gate. That loop keeps conversations concrete when stakeholders disagree about quality or risk. Why this matters: pure human scoring does not keep up with release velocity. Judge models accelerate regression and canary analysis. Without calibration and bias checks, they can encode systematic errors into gates. Enterprises shipping AI into banking, insurance, healthcare, and digital operations cannot rely on hallway demos. Buyers, auditors, and internal second-line risk partners ask for repeatable methods, version artifacts, and clear ownership. If you cannot explain how you tested and what evidence you keep, you do not have AI quality, you have optimism. Core concepts come next. Do not memorize jargon, operationalize each idea into cases, metrics, and gates. Concept 1: Judge rubrics. Give judges explicit criteria and few-shot anchors. Open-ended judging drifts. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 2: Calibration sets. Compare judge scores to human gold regularly. Track correlation and error types. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 3: Bias probes. Test judge favoritism for verbosity, position, or brand cues. DB as prompts and protocols. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 4: Ensemble and panels. Use multiple judges or majority rules for high-stakes gates. Single judges are brittle. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 5: Scope limits. Do not let judges alone decide safety-critical outcomes without human oversight. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 6: Cost control. Route easy cases to cheap judges, escalate hard cases to humans. In practice, treat this as a measurable property, define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Here is a real-world pattern. Setting: Global bank evaluating an internal knowledge assistant for employees. An uncalibrated judge favored long answers and past regressions that humans rejected. After calibration and verbosity bias probes, judge agreement improved and gates tightened. Critical policy questions still required human review. Release velocity stayed high without silent quality loss. Notice the pattern: define scope, run controlled tests, capture evidence, decide with named owners, and feed failures back into the next cycle. That is how AI quality becomes a system property, not a slide. Common mistakes slow mature programs. Mistake 1: Putting an uncalibrated judge directly on a hard release gate. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 2: Ignoring verbosity and position biases. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 3: Never refreshing calibration as products change. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 4: Using judges as the sole authority on safety-critical cases. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. The antidote is discipline, small goal sets, explicit thresholds, change control, and monitoring that connects production incidents back to evaluation suites. Key takeaways for your team. Takeaway 1: Calibrate judges against human gold continuously. Takeaway 2: Probe and mitigate known judge biases. Takeaway 3: Limit judge authority on critical safety outcomes. Takeaway 4: Route scoring by difficulty and cost. Write these into your team wiki and release checklist so they survive staffing changes. Your next steps this week: build a 100-case human-labeled calibration set for your primary task. Then, measure judge-human agreement before enabling any automated gate. Keep the artifacts, prompts, datasets, scores, approvals so you can defend the decision later. Where this fits the AiQualtest method, learn the foundations with AiVELabs, practice with hands-on cases, and validate with governed evaluation evidence. Visit aiqualtest.com and learn.aiqualtest.com. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly AI quality, evaluation, and governance episodes. Additional depth for practitioners: treat Llm As Judge Evals as a controlled experiment. Version the inputs, freeze the environment where possible, record who approved exceptions, and rerun after every material change, model upgrade, prompt edit, retrieval index refresh, or tool permission change. Pair quality metrics with latency, cost, and safety signals so trade-offs are visible to product owners. When results regress, open an incident-style review even if the feature still looks fine in a demo. Governed teams prefer boring, evidence-backed releases over surprising wins that cannot be reproduced.